It's hot in here.
It's the lights.
Huh?
It's the lights.
The air doesn't work? I thought our energy in the second half was noticeably different than the first half. I thought that was the difference in the game. I thought in the first half we were too lackadaisical against their zone pressure. I didn't think our guards did a very good job rebounding the ball. And I thought in the second half we were much more engaged, played with a lot more energy. Everybody did. And our guards were distinctly different on the glass. And I think that was the difference.
With how you talked about how their defense changes and how they're trying to limit those paint touches, were you pleasantly surprised at how easily at times in the second half those paint touches were there?
Yeah, we did a lot better job in the second half. I think Wade had 2 turnovers almost back-to-back when he came in the first half. Marcus was not following the plan on how to attack in the first half. They didn't run it near as many times in the second half because our attack caused problems. Coach Lyle did a great job in having our team prepared offensively, and I thought the execution in the second half was better. Not that they didn't understand it in the first half, but I think the energy with the execution is why it was better.
Buzz, can you talk just about how, I don't know if gratifying is the right word or not, but once again, y'all built a big lead, but this time not only did you protect it, but sometimes you extended it.
Yes. We talked, Olin, at halftime. We weren't playing terrible, but in order for us to have any chance for success, we have to be hard playing, diving on the floor, most DAP of any team in the country. And we were just not awful, but not super excited. I thought we started the second half better, but as we were getting closer to the first media timeout, I think we had 3 of our 6 turnovers in the second half right there, almost back-to-back. And then I thought from that point forward, from an offensive standpoint, we executed at a much higher rate and didn't turn it over, which helped the lead. And then defensively, I thought we had a much better, we call it our low man, the guy that's furthest away from the ball. He had presence at the rim, and we did a good job of guarding the ball and not getting into rotation. And then on the shot attempt, you could visibly see all 5 of our guys doing their job on the glass. And so we weren't turning it over, and then we weren't allowing them second opportunities. In the first half, we had 7 live ball turnovers that turned into 10 points, and they had 7 offensive rebounds that turned into 7 points. In the second half, that was different because our guards rebounded, and we didn't turn it over near as many times after the first media timeout.
The kind of performance you talk about with Henry Coleman that you
Man, he played good, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Played really good in regards to what we were trying to do behind the zone when it was converting from one type to a different one. And then, as I mentioned to you yesterday, I think, if they're in 1-3-1, when it gets below the free throw line, it converts to a 2-3 zone, and their 2-3 zone is not normal 2-3 zone. And then once it gets to the high post, it turns into man. And like anything, if you're running play one, when you get to January, as soon as you run play one, the opponent knows play one. And so really it becomes, what are you doing behind the play? And I think our movement discipline behind the play, particularly Henry and Dre even, that was a lot of why Marcus and Four had so many assists in the second half, was what we were doing behind the play.
Coach, what have you learned about this team through 3 games of conference play?
When we play with great energy, when we play for one another, when we have discipline and play to the scouting report, we'll at least have a chance. If we can have the line on our season is our turnover rate, our rebounding on both ends of the floor, and then our free throw percentage. Our turnover rate was better in the second half. Our rebounding was dramatically better. We want our guards to have 15 rebounds, and I think in the second half, I think that they had 9, and that's huge for us. If your turnover rate and your rebounding, specific to what I'm talking about, is on par or a little better than par, then you're going to have a chance to shoot more balls than the opponent. And that, I don't know how many. I think Arkansas shot 12 more shots than we did, and I know for sure in the first half, Ole Miss had shot more field goals than we have. That's hard math for us to overcome, but I think those 3 things are the line of our season, but the prerequisite is energy and discipline.
You and Corey bought 600 tickets beforehand.
I asked to do that. I was a little convicted by what Travis had said, and even your question yesterday. Like, I should be more engaged. That doesn't necessarily mean financially. I don't mean that arrogantly. But it means a lot to us, and I do think that it helps the ambiance of our environment. I think our kids appreciate it, and I think this was our first rep, Brent, of last Saturday, January the 1st. We didn't play a game, so we prepped on Sunday and Monday and played a road game on Tuesday, and then we were off on Wednesday. And then prep on Thursday and Friday for our first home game on Saturday. Well, we have to work on Sunday. And so this was our first rep of, it's not following a day off. Tomorrow is our day off. And so I think there's been a crescendo, a groundswell of our support. And I was just trying to help. That's it. And I thought you'll like this. The reason the number was 600, and I'm disappointed you didn't ask that question, is I asked last night at the commercial at my radio show, how much do seats in the upper bowl cost? And they said $5. And so I thought about it before I asked Corey, because she's in charge of our home. So I called her today after shoot around, and I said, do you mind if we spend $3,000 on tickets for hopefully our 3rd conference win? Make sense?
Sure.
Win 3,000. That was how it was. Yeah. I don't know how many they used. They use all of them, J-Mo?
I haven't seen the report, but they were coming in pretty good.
After each game, you just have good things to say about different players every time. What does that say about the versatility of your players, and that's been a key to?
Well, that's a good question. We played 12 guys in the first half. We played every scholarship player in the first half, and 24 on their team is a really good player and is out for the season. We found out this afternoon with back surgery. I think when all 12 can be the best version of themselves, Haas, last game 2 for 2 from the free throw line. JB was great. I thought JB played really well when he was back in there again today. H got his first conference minutes today. Yesterday and Sunday were the best practice days he has had since he's been here. He's coming. I think Mo is finding a groove. I thought 4 was as bad as he's been in the first half, and then back to 4 in the second half. Q is not feeling very well. He does not have COVID, but he is really under the weather. I thought he showed great maturity. Marcus was not good in the first half, but 8 assists changes our team. Yeah, I like the versatility of it. As long as we're getting the best version of who they could be. I thought those 2 offensive rebounds that Aaron had were big offensive rebounds. Henry's playing really, really well. I think Dre's our best perimeter defender. I did not think that he played great tonight, but you can always count on his competitive character. He's an everyday guy. So I think the other thing is they like being around one another. And I think the chemistry and the camaraderie of who they are, I take for granted the toughness that Boots plays with just because he's one of my guys and I count on him, and I probably should praise him more in front of the team. I think he would do anything to help our program be successful. And I think obviously winning helps, and so I'm not foolish enough to think that we're going to win every game, but I do think that there has been some traction since we got back from Christmas, and true confidence can only come from your work, and I think our guys have been working and been accountable for their work. And I think our staff has been phenomenal in preparing our guys how to win each game.
Well, going off that, do you see?
I thought you'd like.
I tried something eliminated Philly, it didn't work, so I'm back.
Back in the same job, or like
I'm freelance.
Consultant, or
Whatever you need help, coach. I got you.
let's start a website.
Do you see this team though kind of growing in a game-to-game basis because there are so many new faces playing together for the first time, going through the trenches like this? Can you actually see kind of the progression from one game to the next as they're learning and growing together?
297th, we are in minute continuity within our program. 269th, we are in regards to experience. We're an ultra young team, and games are important, and I understand that's how we're judged. But every day in between the games are vital for a team that's inexperienced individually and together. And I think that our guys are beginning to gain traction in what we're trying to do and the identity that we're trying to have. And it's hard to do it. And I told them this at halftime. It's hard to know where you're going when you've never been there. And there's not a GPS for, hey, I'm a COVID freshman or I'm a real freshman and I'm playing a 1-3-1 against when it goes below the free throw line, it's 2-3. And when it gets to the high post, it's man. You can spend all of your time on that, and then you go, oh, yeah. And remember, play with crazy, crazy energy and still do us. It's just a lot of information. But I think that our staff is doing a really good job of boiling it down to the lowest common denominator. And I think what we practice every day, there's not a lot of variance in it. We try to stay in a narrow lane so that what you want to be good at is what happens a lot in the game. And so we try not to stay too far away from, we still have to be good at these things because it is about the next game, but it's really about the next practice. But it is about their career here and making sure that the foundation we're laying with an ultra young team, that over time we're building it on a foundation that will last.
Anything else for Coach?
That was a good answer. That was succinct.
Thanks, Coach.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, my favorite thing on the internet.